said Jennings.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Molitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We're going to do a little long form. Hope you guys have been enjoying the daily podcast. If you have any feedback for us, let us know. So far, I've been enjoying recording them. Hopefully covering a little bit more than what you usually get this time of year from Andy and myself. And if you are listening, we appreciate you listening to us. So thank you for that. Andy, before we unveil your mock draft and I give you a critical eye, there's breaking news in the No Fun League. Not sure you got this. No, the slime celebration is over. The slime celebration is over.
I love how they call it a nose wipe when that's clearly not why they're,
Yes. We are long removed from 2019 when on Good Morning Football they're explaining what the slime celebration was. You know who this is bad news for, by the way? Deshaun Watson, who started slime.
When is he going to celebrate? His Achilles is ruptured.
I don't know. But he's the first guy that did this, and it's been around since it's been around for 6 years. Why now they're like, oh, it's sexual. It's got to go.
A lot of people are doing it now.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't think the No Fun League has its eyes completely 2020 on what people want out of the entertainment of the sport, or maybe they do, and I don't. But whatever the case is, slime is over. Let's get to the NFL draft, which I gotta tell you, it's kind of lacking a little juice for me. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I can bet like $5 on it. It has everything to do with the fact that it's starting to feel crystallized pretty early. It's starting to feel like every team's draft board is pretty similar and all the needs are pretty similar. And I'm kind of nervous that it's going to be like an anticlimactic hour and a half before we get to a pick that actually has a little drama. Now there is certainly some shuffling of the top four. What?
I would say Cowboys, Falcons, Cardinals, Seahawks. Those are your four contenders for some first team to do something weird.
Sure. I would put the Raiders in the mix too, just because everybody is kind of settled on them taking Genti. And what if they don't?
I mixed it up today.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to say it's going to be a bust of a draft, even though it's in the worst city of all of the NFL cities. Beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin, in a time of year where
driving
it's
over
not sure why you would want to be there.
It's not that far. Well, not only that, but like it's a very small town compared to other NFL cities.
Yeah. Remember when they did this in Vegas? Remember when they did it in Nashville? Remember when it used to be in New York City? Those were good choices to host the NFL draft.
It's a historic town for the NFL and going back to Titletown, but I don't believe it has the infrastructure for this sort of thing. And also, like, I understand doing a cold weather dome Super Bowl when a cold weather city gets a brand new stadium and they want to show it off.
Yes.
Like, I understand Minnesota having theirs. I understand Ford Field having theirs.
Sure.
That makes sense. You don't need to do it for the drafts. New Orleans, Nashville, Vegas, I don't even care that there's not a team. Put it in San Diego.
The month of April in Green Bay, I can't imagine it's beautiful. At nighttime, can't imagine you really want to be sitting around in Lambeau at night waiting for 15 minutes while some GM's got, making the 29th pick in the draft. Like, I know.
So that was my decision to probably not go up there. I thought about, like, what would I do if I went into the draft? I have no desire to stand in that big mosh pit of people and just like cheer for a pick.
I feel like they're just trying to get you to buy crap. Like it's really the only reason you would go would be if you're gonna go to the freaking like the store and buy crap. I'd have felt garbage. Buy a jersey with your newly drafted player's name on it, number one. You know, like I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the mock draft and let's talk about what we think. You know, and we can maybe you disagree that it's going to be boring, but I feel like we know the top four. We don't 100% know the order, but it's starting to feel like we do. And if we know the order of the top four, then 5 becomes pretty fucking obvious, and then 6 seems intuitive. 7 seems very obvious. But I mean, it's going to be a while, I think, before we really have one that moves the needle for me. So let's go.
I went a little different here in 6 through 12 than I have in previous ones, based on just how I think some of these teams have operated in the past. And sometimes it's hard when you have new, right off the bat, even if we do believe what we have a new GM. There's several new GMs. There's several GMs in here with very limited, kind of history on them, especially when you get some of these GMs that were 1 year and they're drafting in a completely different spot than they were last year.
Yeah.
Or, like the Bears, that's a goofy spot for them based on what they need, what they've done in free agency, and the fact that they have a new, brain trust, if you will. So, yeah. Do you tell me where you want me to start? Should we do them in order?
Well, we'll give Patrick's comment a little shout because it's pretty smart. It shouldn't interfere with any bachelor parties, though. Which is at Nashville. Although I gotta tell you, there'll be some enterprising TikToker who will fake having their bachelor party in Green Bay and being really upset that it happens to interfere with the NFL draft happening in Green Bay, and that'll make for great content because someone choosing to have their bachelor party in Green Bay in April is. That's a choice. All right. Let's start with number 1. I think, I guess I'm mostly interested to know what you did in terms of who makes the pick, because I think right now we would say it's 99% Ward, but we may disagree on the percentage chance that Tennessee does the deed, right?
Yeah, I didn't do any trades. I don't like to do. I'll do one with trades here in a couple weeks, but I went no trades to start. And Tennessee Ward, based on what they've done, based on what they haven't done in free agency, not going and adding any, real quarterback depth, fixing some other things. They're a long ways off, but I mean, I kind of went, I didn't want to start off sensationalistic and be like, oh, they're taking Shedeur.
I'm going to give you an A- for that because number 1, it's the right thing for them to do. And number 2, I think it's about 90% chance to happen. And then 90 is about an A-, right? Or did they change the scale? Okay. I think it's 90-10 that
Boy, if we're going to get graded on, if I'm going to get graded on the percentage that exact team takes that exact player, I'm going to get Fs from like 15 on.
That's the way this is going.
I'll give you an F.
That has about a 10% chance to happen, so F.
All right.
I gotta ask you real quick though.
2 for me is the hardest pick in the
my favorite rumor, and I want to know what you think here. Okay. It sounds like the Giants have just kind of they throw up their hands, like they're like the sound. Maybe there's like a note from Mara, a handwritten note to Shane's, like if you deal future assets for a quarterback, you're fucking fired tomorrow, right? Like there may be like an edict not to give away future assets for a quarterback for these guys, so they're just stuck at 3, which means that, and we now know the Raiders aren't trading up from 6, so that kind of like who would be the trade partner. The big buzz that I enjoyed this week was the Saints. The Saints at number 9, and people are like, oh, that can't be. That'd be give up so much. Well, it just happened. The Panthers just did this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this has happened.
This has just happened. And so the Saints sending Chris Olave, this year's 9, next year's 1, and some seconds. Like that, the Titans might be doing a grand disinformation campaign to elicit that type of deal because boy, oh boy, was that a good deal for Chicago. Anyway,
it did work out. Yeah, I think my most likely trade partner with Tennessee would be Cleveland.
Absolutely.
Because I cannot figure out what Cleveland's doing. Essentially, I don't know what the timeline is.
Do they know what they're doing?
Watson, I'm not so sure. Like what they did in free agency was, hey, let's get Pickett. Let's pay the hell out of a guy for the tail end of his career to come, lose 8 to 10 games every year with us. And yeah, I'm not super sure what the long plan is here. And kind of going back to New York too, I had that same thought where I wonder if they're feeling this. I gave them this ultimatum. I gave them an ultimatum, the front office and the head coach, saying this is a 1-year deal. And then, like, you sit with that for a few months, you read the papers, you read the industry rags, and you realize, like, that was a bad idea. I screwed that up. And like you said, hey, if you try to put together this Godfather deal and you screw us for 3 years down the road because you're going to try to move up and save your jobs with Cam Ward, like, that's even worse. And then I just, then you're just then it's all, so like, I wonder if he did kind of pull back the ultimatum behind the curtains.
Yeah.
And say like, let's not do anything hasty. It's like when,
Yeah.
clearly made a mistake, which I do believe it's a mistake. And then with the Browns, I don't know that they're all in on a quarterback. I don't know what they're doing because of the needs all over the field. You obviously can't go fixing the offensive line at the second pick. They are, number one candidate for trading back. So in this mock, I just haven't taken Travis Hunter. Just take the best player.
Yeah.
It
has felt like there's been a nice bubbling up of people just being like, yeah, Travis Hunter's just at the top of almost every team's board. That's coming through pretty loud and clear, which makes me think that and also makes me like, I would have given you an F, I think, for Abdul Carter, just because I think that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I would have given you I think a D for Shedeur, even though that actually I think that's probably what's just going to happen, that they eventually are like
I'm about 60-40 Hunter to Shedeur.
Yeah. Hunter, that makes the most sense to me. But it also, actually, I don't know, I guess Shedeur probably makes the most sense. You just take a quarterback if you're picking second overall.
This is interesting. I hadn't looked at some of these markets because I'm not in a legal state. I have, I can't get down much on.
That's a huge number,
yet. Yeah, I'm probably going to bet that because I'm starting to believe it for sure. Oh, no, I just got a text, Drew.
What's that?
It's the Easy Pass final reminder. I have an outstanding the best
Andy,
thing,
it's a scam.
I'm almost 100% sure we have 0 toll roads in Minnesota.
It's a tollless state.
It's like Minnesota is charging you
toll-free state.
So here's the problem with the scam. Quick aside.
Sure.
Last 2 times I drove to Chicago, I just zone out when I'm driving. And I just went right through the iPass. And they take a picture of your plate. And after you miss one, you say, fuck it, I'm getting a letter. So I'm just miss them all. And I had 12, I think, missed tolls that they sent me a letter for. And then you're like, oh, it's like $20 or whatever. I'll pay this tomorrow. Forget about it. And I did get like a second notice. I'm like, shit,
sure.
I gotta
find do this, yeah.
Illinois website and pay this or whatever. So I have gotten threatening letters about Easy Pass tolls.
That's the way they send it, though. They send it by letter, not by text message. I will real quick.
Those, I think.
Right, similarly on this note, the uptick in spam and scam phone calls, text messages, telegrams, WhatsApp groups, everything. The uptick in scams is outrageous. I think I got 8 possible spam calls yesterday. It's to the point where I just have to have my ringer off, and like if I'm getting like an important phone call, I just have to hope I see that it's coming in. And but anyway, like it is unreal how aggressive the bots are pushing this crap right now. Anyway, we also should cover this news because it's relevant here. But Schefter tweeting that Carter is likely the second pick has crystallized the price in that market. But again, like, huh? Like, I kind of want to call bullshit on that. I really am not seeing this. And I mean, the idea of fortifying that position, considering what you just spent on Garrett and where else you are very weak on this roster is a really hard thing to square. And I don't know. I mean, if that happens, then weirder things have happened. The Falcons signed a quarterback for $150 million last year and then drafted one 8th overall. So like crazier, weirder shit has happened recently. But I would say the Carter going second is just it's a tough one for me to wrap my head around, and maybe it opens up a bet on a second overall once we know who it is. But I don't know who it is between Hunter or Shedeur. But if I had to say, I think it's probably Shedeur. So I'm going to give you an F for putting Hunter second, even though I think he's the best pick. I think he's the best pick. I think it's like a 20% chance to happen. Anyway,
I know.
Oval Office in Green Bay. I don't know anything about the Oval Office in Green Bay. Do you know?
Gentleman's Club, and it's much nicer than Bean Snappers in Appleton.
And it's not full of stupid Nazis. That's huge.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Bean Snappers. Hell of a name.
Bean Snappers is a great name. Yeah. All right. Well, who you got third?
Shedeur Sanders.
To the Giants. Okay.
To the Giants. I have a theory on the Giants.
Tell me.
That, again, the ultimatum may have been rolled back a little, but I think it's still like you need to win some games and prove that we're moving forward and we have a plan for 2026. What better way than to martingale quarterbacks? There's 17 games. You got 3 guys you can start now. You can roll Jameis out for a bit. You can roll Russ out for a bit. You can roll Shedeur out for a bit. 5-6 games each. Maybe more. If you pick the right one the first time, and they just play well, your jobs are saved. And if not, after 4 or 5 weeks, like Russ, we're gonna try the rookie. And if the rookie doesn't play well, you know what? We're gonna give Jameis a shot. And if you go 0 for 3, you tried. You tried, and you're out of a job, and you go, you're an offensive coordinator somewhere else next year. But I think that's what you do. You just martingale quarterbacks because you don't have any aces. You have 3 10s, and you try to make something of it.
Okay, I think that's right.
I don't love this, but I kind of feel like it's what they're doing.
I'm going to give
they're out on quarterback because of the signings.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an A for addressing team need. I'm going to start grading on a curve for likelihood. I'm going to give you a C for likelihood because I think this is 50-50.
There's so many other good players.
I'm going to give you an A for addressing team need on Hunter, by the way, but an F for likelihood. All right, who you got for?
Abdul Carter. If he's there, he's there. I mean,
Okay.
They have other needs. I think, obviously, it's probably too early to reach for an offensive lineman.
I agree.
Maybe, and almost certainly too early to reach for Tet.
Yeah. Do you consider trading down if you are the Patriots and somebody needs a pass rush?
He's offensive.
That's a
deep
Vietnam War joke. If you're a millennial,
you're a little older than me. I just throw those there for you. So I mean, they still have plenty of needs, despite what they've added on the defense.
Yeah,
they still have a lot of needs, and it's just
all right.
If he's there, you have to take him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, you don't think they trade? You think trade down is low likelihood?
Trade down is. I mean, you're on the phone. I think because people are. I mean, there's a bunch of teams. Even the Jags just.
This feels like a teardrop too, right? Like this is like a step down tier wise. Hunter and Carter are your 2 best non-quarterbacks, and then there's a big old step down.
Yeah, I wonder if the Panthers are a little scared off of trading up because God, what a coup for them if they could move up 4 spots.
That would be good.
Obviously, there's a bunch of teams that even the Raiders, with Max Crosby and a bunch of defensive re-signings. None of those other guys were like, mega stars. Like
Christian Wilkins is pretty good.
Everybody can use this guy. So
okay, all right. I'll give you a.
It's not their biggest team need though, but you can't always draft for team needs.
I'm gonna give you a B for addressing team need, and I'm gonna give you an A for likelihood because I think this is a pretty likely that he goes 4th. Carter.
Okay. All right. Double A for the next one.
Because Carter doesn't when are there some exact markets 1.04 Carter up? I feel like that's probably the one that's the most mispriced right now. Because if everyone thinks he's going second, but the Browns are just fucking around, and they doubt he goes third, I think between Hunter and Carter, if it goes QB, Giants aren't taking him. They're taking Hunter, and then Carter's their fourth. And then basically Carter is either going second or fourth, I think. And if you believe Schefter,
there is a scenario. There's a scenario where,
fourth.
yeah, there's a scenario where the teams just aren't bought on Shedeur, and it goes Cam,
Mhm.
and then the two defensive players in whatever order you want there, and Shedeur falls to like God knows where. Then the
Sure, that's
Saints, I
absolutely true.
suppose.
Sure, that's absolutely true.
But if depending on the number, I like that play.
I really can't see Shedeur getting past 3 right now, the way that things have shaped up for both Cleveland and New York. He goes to one of those teams, and Carter goes fourth, I think. 1.04 Carter feels very, very fair to me. Okay, so I'll give you an A for likelihood. I'm going to give you a B for team need. Where are you going 5?
Mason Graham to the Jags. I mean, it's massive need, massive player. He's a star. It's been a need for a couple years.
Yeah.
It probably helps these underachieving edge rushers as well.
Yeah.
Getting a big interior guy like this, he's the best defensive lineman that's not named Abdul.
We got our first A+, Andy.
I mean, it's such a no-brainer.
It's
every mock has this.
100% chance the Jags pick 5th and pick Graham, in my opinion, because I think the first 4 is pretty locked in. The only way that doesn't happen is, like you said, if I have a completely dead wrong read that Sanders is going top 3, in which case Graham maybe goes 4th. Who knows? But I think in that world, I think the Patriots take the offensive lineman and Graham's still there. I don't know, man. Anyway. Oh yeah, I'll give you bonus points, by the way, if you can tell me what year the Tet offensive was.
1972. When did the war end? 75?
I think you're a little late.
1968.
Yeah, 68 was my number. Okay, yeah, I knew it was a little. You were late. 72, we were in the shit, man. 68, we were still thinking this is going to be pretty quick. This is going to be over quick.
Every Vietnam
and then the
movie
Tet
has
offensive happened.
Fortunate Son for some reason. That
yeah.
song just pops into your head.
Yeah, absolutely right. All right, who's 6 for you?
So this is a tricky one because they do need help on the offensive line. It might be too early to reach for that. They have been mocked a million times with Genty, which makes sense. But I put Will Johnson here.
Okay.
Because I think that's a bigger need. I think that's a bigger need than other people are looking at right now in the back end of the secondary. It helps us defense. Like I said, we signed a bunch of guys, re-signed a bunch of guys. Nobody that are superstars besides Crosby. This helps a ton.
Yep.
Obviously, they're out on the quarterback stuff with the Geno signing. And again, it could be this is your pivot pick. This changes a lot about, the next few picks because there's a good chance they take McMillan if they like him. If they really are not worried about the character stuff or whatever, and they want a wide receiver, you could take a wide receiver here. They could get really weird, take the tight end. They could take Warren off the board super early, even though they just keep drafting tight ends. I don't care.
That one stopped me in my tracks.
Go more. It's the Raiders, man. I don't know. I'm not super sure on what the philosophy is going to be because of the new brain trust, and with the new head coach, I went defensive back because of the history.
Okay.
This is the one I spent the most time on in the top 10.
Wait, you went defensive back?
Will Johnson.
Oh, okay. All
Two
right.
straight Michigan boys.
Okay. I don't know why I heard something different, but okay. Will Johnson, got it. You get an A for addressing team need and an F for likelihood. I think the Raiders are probably less than a 10% chance to take Will. We're grading on a curve, and you still failed. Sorry, but you get an A for addressing team need, so that's good.
Yeah.
Number 8. Oh, sorry,
Jets
7. Jets.
The Jets do take the wide receiver.
Really?
Not Schrager. Jeremiah has Tet like going 20 something in his latest mock, and but he does kind of hedge his bets, say he could go top 10. Like, he could seriously go top 10. I think because of the draft class for wide receivers, it becomes a lot more valuable. Being, I guess Hunter's your wide receiver one, but the drop off between Hunter and Tet and everybody else is like a lot. There's a big, massive gap there. And I guess, a lot of the people who are really in the weeds are saying some of the day 2 and 3 guys aren't very good either. Or you're not just going to go snag some third round.
This is an exceptional draft as opposed to the norm where 2 and 3 is just take your shot at some wide receiver project. There's none of them this year, from what I can tell you. I agree with that. Okay, so wide receiver, addressing team need, I give you an A. Likelihood, I'm going to give you a D.
Give me
I think it's D. No, I don't think it's 50-50. I think you're like in the 25-30% range.
I thought we're on the curve.
There.
The curve gets bigger.
The curve, the curve as it stands now, if you're between 60 and 40% likelihood, you get a C. If it's 80 to 60, you get a B. If it's 40 to 20, you get a D. And I think you're in the D category. Sorry, man. Although I gotta relook at my grade for your Raiders. Will Johnson, campaign says Charlie Campbell, who has gotten every Raiders pick right in the last 10 years, has Will Johnson going to the Raiders. So there is a new boss in town. So some of the sources that might have been leaking to old Charlie might not be as reliable. So just
he needs some new spy tech,
which goes for the Jets and Daniel Jeremiah. Daniel Jeremiah used to have the Jets down cold, right? He used to know their pick, period, and that has all turned over. That whole front office has turned over as well. So can't really tell you whether Jeremiah has the right read on the Jets or not. But okay, who you got going 8th?
Jalen Walker.
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay.
This is obviously it's another team that, they went, it's kind of like the Patriots. They went and got a bunch of guys. You re-signed some of your guys, but this is a game changer. It'd be great to get a wide receiver.
Okay.
But there's just no one you can reach for at 8 wide receiver wise. So it's a good trade back spot, but Jalen Walker is a
linebacker or an edge. Is he linebacker?
Little everything there.
A little bit of everything. Okay. Yeah, I have 0.0 read here.
I know.
So I will just take your word for it and say that you get an A- for addressing need, and you get a C for likelihood, because I don't know any better.
Yeah, this is a tough team to gauge too, but when you have this many needs, he's versatile, and honestly, he might be a better edge rusher than Carter.
That's fascinating. Wow. Okay. All right. Jalen Walker, not Trayvon Walker, a different Georgia linebacker. Okay.
Jalon.
Okay. What are you thinking on number 9 for the Saints?
Saints take the running back. There he is. He's gone.
Okay.
Kellen Moore's first big boy draft with lots of needs, and they could have used Carter, Graham, Walker. Like the defensive line is, despite the re-signing, they need defensive line help, and there was just a defensive line run. Like, it kind of puts you in a box here. So have him taking the running back, game-breaking offensive player. The offensive line should improve. It just, if everyone's not injured all the time. Oh, Boise State connection. Didn't even think of that. My buddy has a Kellen Moore Boise State jersey he wears around. He wore it like out in Vegas. Got a ton of people asking about it. That's a conversation starter, buddy.
Yeah, that's a throwback. Okay. Team need, I think I'm going to give you a B. There's a lot that they need. I'll give it to you, though. Oh, God, if they take a first-round running back with the state of that roster, feels like a luxury, man. I'm going to give you a C for team need, or fitting, fitting the team need, and I'm going to give you a D for likelihood because again, I really don't know where that's going, but I feel like it could go a lot of different directions. How about Bears at
I
10?
think I'm doing the Bears a solid because
You're taking that decision away from them.
they're taking that decision away. And yeah, the Bears fixed almost all of the
We haven't
interior
had an
offensive
O
line
lineman
problems.
yet in your draft.
See, that's the thing. If they're able to take their pick between Campbell and Membu, if no one's
Okay.
off the board, I get that they fixed it and they have Jones, but it's probably an upgrade at a minimum to at least have some competition. So I have them taking Membu.
Now, is most of your audience Chicago readers and Chicago folks, and are you doing this as a like a for their mental health?
No, I shit on the Bears. I have them taking some dumb picks sometimes. My first
Okay.
mock had something that had somebody all up in arms.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
No,
I
I
like that
just-
one. I'm gonna give you a.
It's a smart pick. You upgrade your tackle.
I'm gonna give you AA. I think that's happening. I think he's gonna be available. I think he fits what they want. I think that's gonna happen. All right. What do you got next?
Niners are very tough.
Yes, they are.
Lost a lot of defensive players,
They did.
but some of them weren't, but they lost some offensive players too. I don't know if a lot of them were like roster breakers. And
Yeah.
this is another one where it is just the offensive line was much worse. We went into last year saying you have a good left tackle, a Hall of Fame, first
Yes.
ballot left tackle.
Yes.
The rest of it isn't very good, but they get by. They
Yes.
didn't get by.
No.
And I went back and forth between do you take the first, or not first, the issue is, are you taking the third cornerback off the board
I don't think so.
or are you just fixing some offensive line? And
think that-
I struggled. So I did go with Campbell here. I
Good
went
one.
back and forth between Campbell and Barron. I think these next two picks are kind of
Barron would
kind
be
of
a huge
interchangeable.
Barron would be a huge reach here. So I think you made the right call.
I have Barron going to the Cowboys.
Oh shit. Oh, that's a reach. That's a huge reach.
I know,
Okay.
but it's the Cowboys and
Okay. All right. So the 11th pick, San Francisco 49ers are taking Will Campbell. I like that.
Campbell.
I think that makes sense. I kind of actually feel bad for them that they missed out on Membu, who I think is a better prospect. So bummer for them. But
Well, yeah, those guys were flipped in a lot of people's big boards a month ago, and Membu is
Membu's OT one, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty likely. Okay, cool. And then for Cowboys pick 12, we spoiler alert already. They are taking Texas cornerback
two
Jade
straight
Barron?
Longhorns. Yeah.
Really?
The Cowboys
Hmm.
are another weird one where, you know what? I almost had him taking something even weirder. I almost had him taking the second running back off the board.
Huh.
Almost went Hampton here because, again, are you going to go find a wide receiver? Are you going to take a third offensive lineman at this point to fix something up there? Interior? I don't like Barron. Barron's very good. He's been rising in a lot of people's mocks. He's been rising just on the big board. So I don't know if this is such a reach.
Okay. He's tiny. It's his corner, so who cares? But yeah, it feels a little rich to take him in the top 15 in my opinion. But I won't. You've done way more research than me, so I'll give you a benefit of the doubt here. I do like addressing the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys,
Yeah.
but boy, does their roster look like it has so many holes right now.
Well, that's the
Tackle,
thing. You can
wide
only,
receiver,
you're
running
only
back.
allowed to take one guy at a time.
The offense is so depleted right now.
And you do need
yeah.
somebody like Barron can start day one.
Okay.
And you need somebody to start on opening day opposite Bland.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be this or something you take in the next round.
Mm.
Like they're probably going to have to address corner in the first two rounds.
Okay.
I don't love the free agent they went and got.
All right, this works. Let's keep moving. The Dolphins at 13 take.
Oh, I spoiled that too. I said two straight Longhorns. I
Yeah,
was
is
looking
it
at the wrong
Kelvin
one.
Banks?
Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah. Okay.
This is, they're like the Niners.
Yeah.
This is like, it's the same thing. Like your offensive line was duct tape and paper clips 2 years ago, and it just fell apart last year. And you have a quarterback who already has applesauce brains. Like you have to do something. And yeah, I think you take another offensive lineman here, a big guy who can
Okay.
play outside.
All right, you get an A for addressing team need. I got nothing on likelihood. Now that we're outside the top 10, I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna grade
likelihood. Throw it
anymore.
out the window.
All right, what do you got for the Colts
Although,
14?
We could bring likelihood back for this one. This is
Oh,
probably
yeah?
the most. This is probably the most common mocked
Is it the Colts?
one. Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end.
Okay.
This is very consensus-y, and I hated to do it, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just plugging him in. He's very, very good. He's a guy who could go higher than this, I think. Like, if the Cowboys they don't need a tight end, I don't think. But there's a couple teams that
Do the
could use
Colts
this guy.
really need a tight end though?
Well, and some of the other things that are available.
Their
like,
offense isn't really built to utilize the tight end.
who's their quarterback?
Anthony Richardson.
Is he?
I think so.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Daniel Jones is the same. He's got the same spray chart.
So here's the other thing about the defense. I wonder if the defense just gets better based on coordinator.
Yeah, it should probably. I was thinking more like, yeah, do you address the offensive line? Because they lost some important pieces there.
That's the other thing too. So you lost some interior guys. Do you reach for Booker at this point? Maybe.
Is it a reach?
It's probably not at this point. Like, he was on my list of guys that could have gone here.
Okay.
But I went with the consensus-y Tyler Warren.
Okay. All right. If you were, well, by the way, intermission after that, I get an A. I'm only going to give you a B for addressing team need there because I think there's a good argument of a couple other positions. And if you're watching NBA right now and you're wondering why the Indiana Pacers let the Lakers go on a 21-3 run to start the second quarter, it's because I bet on the Indiana Pacers and against the Los Angeles Lakers tonight, which makes me, I think, 1-11 probably on last 12 games where I played.
Stop betting Lakers games.
Yeah, I need to. All right, carry on.
Our third, Michigan Wolverine off the board to the Falcons.
Okay, D-line.
I think Kenneth Grant is not an edge rusher, which they need probably a little more, but I think he's a higher likelihood of being an impactful player on the defensive line right off the bat.
I'll give it to you. I like that.
Taking him ahead of there's a few other names here in this general area.
Yeah, you're not going to believe this, Andy, but I give you an A+ for addressing team need.
Yeah, if the Falcons take an offensive player,
oh my God, burn it to the ground.
They went out and they said this when they went to the combine. They said, like, when they went to and did any scouting, said it's a defensive draft, which I would hope so.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, that's huge team need, obviously. Edge and interior defensive line. Also, this one maybe is a little off based on some of the signings. They got Josh Sweat. They got Baron Browning. I don't know if Gardick's actually coming back. I think he's like a free agent. Obviously, he tore his ACL all up too. But adding to that offense or defensive line, I put Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M here. It's kind of my next defensive lineman. They're just... The defense, despite some decent play partway through the season, it still has a ton of holes, even bringing Sweat in. You need a bunch in the front seven. So it was kind of edge or corner here, and I went with edge. Okay. This is a tough one.
And this is the kid that's just like the absolute absurd freak athlete.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey,
that didn't produce a lick in college because he didn't know how to play football?
Well,
is that the right guy?
And I think a lot of people are high on the defensive coordinator here, and maybe we get somebody this kid that's a perfect match. So
okay, all right. Well, I'll give you an A for addressing team need. I hope the Cardinals go defensive trenches as well.
Defense, yeah.
Yep. Okay. What do you like? Who do you like for the Bengals? I got to imagine it's another defender. I hope.
No.
Wide receiver. No.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Luxury.
Tyler Booker. They need
Booker. Interior line. Okay.
Offensive line. They need interior offensive line.
Okay.
Bad. This is
all right.
He probably in that 15 to 20 range. Okay. Somebody's gonna nab him. I don't hate this, and they need a guard pretty badly.
I'm gonna give you a C for.
Fuck
I'm gonna give you a C for addressing team need, especially because a guy like Nick Emanuari would look pretty good and help immediately help your secondary, which is really, really fucking bad right now. Okay. All right. It's a fine pick, but God dang it. I guess have we passed like a step in your opinion on just defense, like a tier, step down in a tier?
A little bit. I think
Defensively?
we're not quite there. We have one
Okay.
more guy in this tier.
Okay.
Also, I'm jilted by last year's where teams just didn't draft defensive players for a very long time.
Okay. I feel like that makes it a premium this year to
Maybe,
get
but
defense
it's the
because you
worst
don't
year.
have any young defenders. Okay.
That's true.
All right. Who you got going to the Seattle Sea Chickens?
Same thing. Guard Gray Zabel.
Guard.
North
Great.
Dakota
Oh,
State.
yeah.
He's a
Oh, I
tackle,
like
but
that
he's-
one.
He
Ooh,
can
I like
kick
that one.
he can kick inside, and they need help.
Yeah,
They
I
need
give
help
you an
up
A.
front pretty badly.
Give you
I
easy,
like that one
easy
quite
A.
a bit.
Easy A. Bucks.
Mike Green. This is like their only team need is edge.
Edge.
Like the edge is like there's a lot of teams that have 2 or 3 things that are kind of equal. Edge is like quite a bit above all the other team needs, I think, for Tampa Bay. It seems really likely they go edge or defensive line.
Okay. You want to know something? Who is Mike Green?
He's from Marshall.
Marshall's Mike Green. The Thundering Herd Zone. Marshall.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I give you a B for addressing team need because I think there are other defensive positions you could have targeted, but that's fine. Mike Green. Okay.
Where would you have gone? Corner?
Probably. Or safety. Secondary, probably.
I can see that. All right.
I just have a higher opinion, I think, of Emmanuel than you because I don't think he's making it past. I don't think he's
not-
making it.
He's not in my mock.
Really? He's out of the first round for you?
I didn't have a spot for him. I realized it late, and I'm like, I have him out.
His RAS is so stupid high.
I
He
know,
ran like a 4.3, man.
I might have to fix this.
He's getting drafted in the first round. Okay.
You know what?
Okay.
I'll switch one. I'll switch one here.
You don't have to do that. No, you can take a stand. You can take a stand.
I'll take a stand. All right.
You can take a stand.
See,
No one's
it's so hard
stopping
to
you.
draft. It's so hard to draft safety when it's like, I don't know. Maybe he can play.
You know
slot
who?
too. I think
You know who
Starks-
should have considered safety? Everyone who passed on Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
Dipshits.
I know, but they took,
He didn't even have the.
He
He didn't even have the absurd
Kyle Hamilton was
athleticism.
horrible to start.
Oh, they
They
were.
needed to
They weren't
sort out-
utilizing him correctly,
I'm
and
saying that's the issue with taking safeties high is like a lot of teams just can't figure out how to use the guys. Because, I mean, it's similar to linebacker. When they talk about how linebacker in the college to pro level, it's not the same sport. It's not the same position. Like if you're an off-ball linebacker in college, you're probably, a lot of those guys just aren't starting at all, even if you're a first rounder, because you got to figure out a bunch of stuff. You're not even playing the same position. I think safety is a little bit like that. Somebody like Starks who can just be, guess what? You're a slot corner.
yeah, God,
You
dude,
know-
if you could replace Christian Isian with Emmanuel in the Bucks secondary, and now you have McCollum, Winfield Jr., Emmanuel Dean. That's start now. Now we're talking. Brees Hall put Brees Hall in the slot. This is all of a sudden a much better secondary, which helps what Todd Bowles wants to do, which is mostly just blitz. Like I think edge is a little bit of a luxury for them because
I still have it as the highest need.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
secondary. Their
Let's carry
secondary
on.
wasn't bad. It was hurt. It's like the Saints. I'm like, God, the Saints need an offensive lineman. Then I liked them. Like, no, they don't. They just need offensive linemen not to all be injured at the same time. It's kind of the same with the Bucks. They just had a cluster injury, making it seem worse.
Okay.
But I mean, it's all 3 levels of the defense could use a little help. But edge was big for me.
What's
20
your who does your bestie take in Denver? Sean
Second running
Payton
back.
drafts a running
Hampton.
back.
Hampton.
Okay.
It's Sean Payton. He's old school. And Hampton's shooting up draft boards a lot too. He's very in vogue. There's people that say
You can't make the shooting signs in the NFL celebrations either.
no.
No finger
somebody's gonna-
guns.
People are gonna screw that up too. Someone's gonna do this.
Oh, somebody's gonna
But-
slime. No question.
Omari and Hampton,
Okay.
North Carolina. It's like a D for team needs, but you don't need a defender. I don't know that you really need an offensive lineman. I think the only other case here is take Loveland, the tight end, or add another wide receiver, man.
Loveland, the tight end, huh? Interesting. What wide receiver would we go? We're wide receiver 2, which would be Golden. Is that right?
You're at 3.
If you
Golden,
you're counting
Burden.
Hunter.
So I'm counting Hunter. So that's a mess too. Like of the guys, Golden, Burden, Egbuka, and if you throw in Loveland as a tight end, those 4 guys, I don't think they all 4 go in the first round.
Okay. So the Broncos have a running back. Their running back need addressed. I'll give that a C plus,
If that,
B minus,
no.
B minus, B
All right.
minus. You already have a
It's
running
a-
back.
it's
His
a
name's Bo
need.
Nix,
That's
fastest quarterback, fastest player in the NFL. Week 1. of
true.
last year.
Sneaky fast.
Sneaky
Gritty.
test. Yeah, no, okay, that's fine. B minus for addressing running back at 20. What about the Steelers?
This is like a mirror of the Bears one. Braxton Jones isn't good. Broderick Jones isn't good. Like, get a tackle. Josh Simmons. I think some of these tackles are going to be a little out of order. I don't know how some teams rate these guys because it gets a little murky down here with some of these
Josh Simmons?
offensive linemen. Josh Simmons, offensive lineman.
OT.
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State. Okay.
The
He's
other
huge.
needs are so your other needs are like quarterback, which I don't know if you are you going to reach for the third quarterback here. Your next corner, which I guess your next one would be. I don't even know. Honestly, your next one is probably like Starks, and he's a safety essentially.
Yeah.
Play slot, and then running back, but you're not taking the third running back. So I think you fixed the
Okay.
offensive line here.
Okay. I give you a B plus for addressing that. You don't think QB3 goes to the Steelers? You want to just you just want to nix that right now?
It's so hard. It's so hard to mock either of those guys in this first round, man. It doesn't feel good to say like Jackson Dart, first rounder.
Okay. Steelers pass on a QB. Do they have a plan?
Doesn't appear so, but I mean, it sounds like Rodgers is the piece that fits there. So, also, if Rodgers is there, they still need a
Jeez.
quarterback because he's a trillion years old. But
Jeez. Okay. He's a trillion years old. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I've never
At
heard
least.
people use trillion for age. That's good.
hyperbole needs to, move with inflation.
22nd overall pick to the LA Chargers is who?
Colston Loveland. the
Oh,
tight end
okay.
From
Nice
Michigan.
weapon. Reunited with his old coach Jim Harbaugh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how people feel about Burden. And the other thing is too, like Egbuka is out there. But
Yep.
why are you draft Egbuka if you just drafted Ladd McConkey? Not the exact same guy, but you can't just keep taking little slot guys.
No, but the fast guy maybe isn't.
Burden, I
speed-
thought about Burden here too, but the other thing is Colston Loveland went to Michigan.
Wait, Golden hasn't been taken in your Mac, has he?
No,
Oh, he fit, wouldn't he?
he,
Am I
he
crazy?
does too. I looked at him,
Okay.
but I know Ladd isn't like purely a slot, but he does play a lot of that
where
style.
he does his best work. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that work. You can get a couple of shorter receivers. You can make it work. I just don't love it, I guess. And
Okay.
also, Harbaugh, Michigan.
Okay.
Fun.
A weapon in the passing game is enough to get an A for their addressing the needs. How about the Green Bay Pack? Go Pack, go! Everybody's been
James-
staying around. It's 9:00 Central. It's getting awfully chilly. The Packers are finally on the clock. Who are they taking?
James Pierce Jr.,
James Pierce Jr. Edge.
Tennessee
Okay.
Edge.
More
They need-
first round.
This is another
draft.
one where
defense,
Golden
yeah.
makes sense, Burden makes sense. They don't have that guy that's the wide receiver guy. They should have a name for that, like wide receiver number 1.
Okay.
I don't know if those guys are it though, and edge is a huge need. That they've brought in some guys. They haven't found the game breaker on the defensive line yet. So it's big need, I think.
Okay. I'll give you a B plus for addressing need. I would also go D line in some way, either interior or edge.
Walter Nolan is another one you can look at there, I think.
Your Minnesota Vikings. Take who?
Malachi Starks, safety, Georgia. You like the other guy.
Did I freeze?
You did for a split second there. It was kind of
Yeah,
weird.
I think the ads on some of these websites are really, really
Are you
awful.
on Walter Football, buddy?
Our lads ads now.
Our lads
Oh
did an
my
upgrade though.
God.
It's different now.
It's not good because the sheet you sent me that scraped it
I
all,
know it
which I
ruined it.
used every single day last year.
It's on my
I
list to
think.
fix. It's on my list to fix. I just have to add two more.
Oh my God, our
import
lads is
HTMLs
just
now.
effed. Tankathon's
All right,
kinda
Malachi
effed.
Starks.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can play three positions. He can play either safety spot and slot. Harrison Smith isn't getting younger.
I love it.
They need
I love it. I love it.
this
Okay.
pick.
Good job. I would have taken either safety or interior offensive line would have been fine. And considering that Gray Zabel's already gone, I give you an A.
They
for
went and
addressing
got
need.
those two. They went and got those two linemen in free agency already.
Yeah, but another healthy body to kind of help step.
I don't think it's a bad
Step up
idea,
there.
but I think it's more of a later round. Get some, guys for
Yeah.
competition
Okay.
guys.
Safety works for me. Although, do you trust the front office there to evaluate safety, Andy? Has to be asked.
It does. Scene was bad. Oh, this is another Georgia safety. Oh God. I didn't think of that.
All right. I got a guess at what position the Texans are addressing, but I don't have a guess as to who they take. What is the answer?
Walter Nolan, defensive tackle.
Whoa. Okay. That's a surprise. Okay. Ole Miss kid.
I don't know which offensive lineman you'd take here. Like
You don't think any of these guys are warranted top 25?
So this is something I want to dig into when we do the 30 visits, when we do some of the scouting stuff and who they're going to watch. If they have a couple of offensive linemen in mind, like Jackson, the Minnesota kid, the tackle, his scouting report was weird. Two different places called him high-waisted.
Oh no.
Like everybody's.
Oh no.
Everybody's proportion of legs to torso isn't the same.
Correct. Yeah, surely.
Bad because he has to bend over to get leverage, and they say he just might not be any good because that doesn't work against stud defensive ends in the NFL.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I went best defensive interior guy because.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Because there's a conspicuous
defensive
player that hasn't been taken off the board, and I'm wondering if you know something that I don't know. Linebacker Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. He's next, or he's off for a reason.
He's next.
Okay.
You guessed the next pick.
Okay. The Rams are taking Campbell. I like that fit.
The Rams haven't
That's
done
awesome.
anything for linebacker for a decade.
That's sick. Yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
It's perfect if this is a drop for him. So
that would be a drop. Yeah.
I didn't have a great slot for him, and the way I think he's not a pure off-ball guy.
There's a lot of good day two linebackers, I have to say.
That's the other thing too. So he could drop like this, and if he does, what a coup for the Rams. This is such a perfect fit for what they need defensively. Maybe their biggest need, and you can't really take linebacker 2 in the first round.
Okay. Baltimore Ravens. I give you an A. Yeah, that's an A. Baltimore Ravens.
Donovan Ezrakua. Boston College. Edge.
That one is off the radar. That's cool. Okay.
So,
I like Edge. Donovan Ezrakua. Oh yeah, no, I got him. I got him dialed in. That's a nice slide to them actually if he goes there. Okay. A.
Interior offensive line would be nice, but kind of Lamar just kind of makes it work without that being too good. And this is a guy that I don't know. It's a nice edge spot here because it's another one where, hey, you could use a cornerback. Who are you gonna take though?
I guess the next CB up is probably Harrison, the Kentucky kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that. I like going edge there better than taking a corner.
There's a case for Siobhan Ravel, if I'm saying his name right, the ECU kid, the Florida State kid, Trey Amos,
Okay.
Benjamin Morrison.
Okay.
There's a lot of these guys that are like in the 40s to 50s that are going to end up in the last 10 picks.
Okay. The biting kneecaps from Detroit at 28 are taking who?
Luther Burden the third, because it's the Lions.
Ooh.
Their roster's so good. You can just do a luxury pick. Guess what? Now you have another stud receiver.
That's a surprise.
Your offensive line is still so good. You don't need really anything else offensively.
You're not. You're cold on Golden then. Nobody's taking Golden.
I didn't have him in the first round in this one.
Damn. Isn't he fast as shit too? This guy's
He's
always
fast as
go.
shit.
This guy's always
Who's the
go.
last fastest shit Texas receiver, Drew?
Xavier Worthy. Yeah, he's, I think, a hit. I don't think the Chiefs regret drafting him, even though he's maybe in legal trouble, right? Or was he getting, he claims he's getting extorted? I missed that one. I'll have to do my homework reading about
This guy's a little bigger.
Okay. The commies. Your 2025 NFC champion Washington
Has to be
Commanders.
edge. I mean, feels like
Okay.
it has to be edge here. So I went with
God damn, you're
Nick
sending a lot. You're drafting a lot of edges in round one. Who?
Scorton, A&M.
Damn, I don't have him on my radar. That doesn't really move the needle for me with the commies.
What position would you rather fill?
I would like to fill edge, but I don't know who that player is. It feels like a reach.
He's another one that's like he's going to be somewhere between 20 and 40.
I don't know, man. I honestly, I've lost a lot of faith in the commies with the way they've handled their offseason. The longer it's sat with me, the more it's soured. So them making a stupid reach or picking luxury pick wouldn't shock me. But addressing need, I'll give you an A.
Yeah, it has. I just worry that they do something else here. They need to pick it. And the way my draft went, I did draft a lot of edge players. It's bad for Washington.
Yeah.
So you're ending up with Scorton or
Yeah.
I don't know. You could end up with Williams. I have him kind of dropping here. Landon Jackson.
How about the Buffalo Billiams?
I should put Golden here. This is where I should put Golden. I went with Egbuka because he's a star. I think he's just better.
Golden is a
not-
nice
I don't
off-speed
build a-
pitch with the other weapons in their arsenal
Yeah.
there. Who did you
I
send?
might read. I went with Emeka Egbuka, the wide
Okay.
receiver from Ohio State.
Okay.
I don't know. I have
He-
them about the same, and I think
He's productive.
He's just been doing it for. He just always has done it. He's always been.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's going to be a first-round pick when he's finally due up.
Yeah, he's a squint and looks like Keon Coleman a bit to me. So I don't know that I'm into that. But okay, A for addressing need. Chiefs tackle,
Donovan Jackson,
Best tackle available.
The Ohio
Best-
State.
best tackle available.
So he's a guard who bumped out
Okay.
to play tackle, and he was fine at both positions. So I think he has some flexibility too. But this is another one where they went and fixed one tackle spot. They still probably should fix the other one at some point, or at least get somebody in here to be competition. And honestly, this is such a trade back spot too, because I think there's a bunch of guys that are right in this range that you could have 15, 20 picks later. So
Okay.
I really hope they find a way to trade back. But I went with Donovan Jackson.
Okay, your Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles need kind of weirdly a lot after some of their departures. Where are we? Which side of the ball are we addressing with the 32nd overall pick?
I went defense.
Okay,
I think they lost more pieces
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's just
they
like,
did.
oh, the Eagles are drafting late and they just load up on a defensive pass rusher and Mikael Williams.
Mikael Williams.
Yeah, I have him a little lower than some people. There's people that definitely have him, above
Mhm.
Pierce, above Green. But I think you could probably swap some of these defensive.
I've seen him go
around.
way higher than 32, so
Michael
that would be
Williams, yeah.
that would be them backstopping Georgia tackle, Georgia edge.
Well, that's the thing.
Mikael
like,
Williams,
it just-
another
I
Georgia
know I
edge.
saw it. I'm like, all right. There's like
Am I
three
really
or
gonna do
four
this?
tackles I got to look at here, and then I saw the Georgia one. I'm like, well, I gotta go with the Georgia one, right?
Yeah. Okay. A couple thoughts. I feel like your defensive players versus offensive players was something like it was way imbalanced in favor of the defense, wasn't it?
I could count.
I think you had like
All right, let's count. Well, what do you want to count Hunter as? Should we skip him?
D. I
Is he
think
a
he's going
half?
to be graded. He's going to be graded CBD
Corner.
defense.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got Hunter, Carter, Graham Johnson, Walker, Barron, Grant, Stewart, Green, Pierce, 10, Starks, Nolan, Campbell, Donovan Azuzuraku, Scorton, Mikael Williams. I'm at 16.
16.
Half and half. Half and half.
Wow. Okay.
So half and half, depending on if you want to get Hunter as a half, it's 15 and a half to 16 and a half.
Okay. Fascinating. All right. Well, good job by you. I'm going to give you an A overall for your efforts, especially considering we are a month away. It feels like you have a very good read on things. So nicely done. And I think is there a portion or a team that you are kind of the most aggressively looking for updates so that you can kind of have the piece of the puzzle that makes the rest of it all come into focus?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the Raiders a little as a pivot or a focal point, a fulcrum. Them, the Saints, the Cowboys. It feels like we just get the Steelers pick every year early. That one's just telegraphed. That would help because it's almost likely going to be a trench. Well, they don't need defensive line, but offensive trench or some sort of secondary piece. And that helps figure out what some of these other teams are probably going to do. And then also where these teams have the two tight ends.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I got another question for you. What players over under are you the most eagerly anticipating widely available limits on?
Maybe it is Campbell to see where they put that. Because I do think just the needs of a lot of teams, he is going to drop. And there's just such a hard stop there at the Rams. Mike Green, too. Interesting to see where he is. I think a lot of teams have him higher, and people are just not as keen because it's not a major program. I don't know. I haven't really looked at the distributions
Consensus
on some
mock
of these players.
distributions. Okay.
Well, just like looking at my distributions too, and seeing
Okay.
where I think some of these guys will end up based on needs.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had to do it different,
You-
I think I would swap Golden and Egbuka, and then maybe put Mikael Williams as the pick to Washington over Scorton, and then the Eagles probably just take another defensive player anyway, it's Scorton or any of the other edge rushers or some of the
Mike
defensive.
Green apparently is a
tackles.
bad boy. What about
He has a little bit of a Derek Harmon, another one that maybe he's a defensive lineman. Maybe that's an Eagles pick too, if they don't like the edge rushers that are there.
do you recall who
Yeah, we have like three guys with things that might drop them between Pierce, McMillan, and Mike Green.
do you have a read on when props are going to come widely available? Do you remember when they hit like Bookmaker last year, for instance?
It's like 2 weeks before, man. It sucks.
Was
It's
that when
just,
it
you
was?
know, that it
I
was
thought it
bad.
was further. Thought it was before that. After March Madness.
I should text Benson, see when he put
Benson's
his, I
already
feel
put
like,
his note out. Benson's like literally week of only.
okay.
He's like, I think Benson was like the Monday of the or 1 week out or something. Like his available window is very, very, very short.
It does feel like it's about 2.5 weeks out. It's not a big window.
There's no market for pick 4 yet. No market for pick 5 yet. We do have a 1, 2, and a 3. Carter favor for 2. Hunter favor for 3. Those two numbers together don't make sense. Sanders sliding out of the top. Both the way that the Browns and the Giants have handled this offseason into the draft, both of them passing on QB feels crazy. Scanfield says Benson said 417. That is a Thursday, so that is 1 week out. Circa's not even taking limits. Yeah, that's fair. Whatever, and it's up to This is all it's only the thing that sports fans care the most about in the month of April, and maybe March, besides March Madness.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a championship game. We get man, Duke. I hope we get Duke Houston for the
That feels pretty likely, right?
for the semi there.
Well, save this for tomorrow. We'll tomorrow on Deep Dive Daily, we will cover a little
We're
college,
talking
a little
baseball.
Drew
and Andy
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know shit about baseball.
Actually,
gonna
this
bet
is
it
this is a specific call to all of the Deep Dive Discord degens. Please join us tomorrow and help give us some baseball futures market long shots. We're gonna pick out a award winner, no shorter than 30-1 for every award, and we're gonna have ourselves a little lunch money sweat for at least the first month of the baseball season until we find out how very wrong we are.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, he's got
Hey,
he's going in for Tommy John already.
Hey, Drew, your guy had 2 doubles today for
Woo.
Wilkes Scranton Bear.
I love that. Okay, yeah. So come if you're a baseball handicapper, come join us in the chat tomorrow. We are going to cover Survivor for the Sweet 16 round. We are going to cover baseball futures.
Yeah, don't think we did miss this half. We'll talk about it in the morning.
Yeah, we're gonna go. I'm gonna end up with a contrarian pick, I think, on Friday. It's gonna end a bunch of it may end all my entries. Honestly, we'll see. I guess one final question, and then let's call it a pod. Can you tell me what you thought of the Atlanta team winning the TGL, and whether the TGL was this? What was it?
It was fun. So at first it was fun because it was novel. But you could tell the players were getting into it later in the season.
Did you say it was fun because it wasn't awful?
No, it was novel.
Oh, it was novel. Sorry.
The novelty of it, the
Got
huge
it.
screen, the fact that they were actually putting and chipping on a green they made, because anybody who's ever played golf at a simulator knows putting sucks. They just have not figured it out. Like, it's not good. I know people who go to the simulators and they play with like groups and they just pick it up and they just say like, I think within a certain distance it's a 2-putt or it's a 1-putt, and they don't even try because it's just such a waste of time. So I love that they did that. It's awesome. And the players got into it, especially that Atlanta team. Like, there were some fun moments when JT duffs that chip a couple weeks back and then needs to jar it to force overtime, and he says, pull the pin. I'm just jarring it. And he does. He went and did it. There's some fun moments. So
Okay.
hopefully, I honestly don't understand why they don't do it in the fall. It should be in the fall when the golf sucks, and it should be every Tuesday in the fall, because all the the swing season events aren't nearly as good, and there's nothing
Yeah.
until like November. You don't get like Fun
Maction
Belt
doesn't. Yeah,
Maction.
Maction doesn't step up till November. Yeah.
So hopefully they keep it going. And there has been interest by other owners of other kinds of sports franchises have said, I want a team. I would like to own one of these teams. Because obviously Atlanta's, and God bless Arthur Blank, he got a championship, man.
Finally.
I know, I thought it was a little cursed because he's down on the he's down on the floor, and we know what happens with that. But they did pull it off. So they're talking about adding other arenas, so they're not always just in Florida. A couple other ones around the country. It'd be cool to go to one.
Do the owners of the teams have the ability to choose who to retain and who to replace?
True. They didn't even they didn't have any rules about rosters. They were just doing stuff where like they were signing guys for one match contracts. Random players were like, and it was just like, hey, because of we're playing here and we have a match. I don't know if we can field 3 guys. I'll get somebody hop in there. Jason Day, hop in. You're on our team for 1 week or whatever. And there's been that. They changed one of the major rules midway through the season on the hammers. I mean, essentially it's like, you know what? Holding's a 20-yard penalty now. We're just going to say that in like week 8. Just everything else doesn't matter. Touchdowns are worth 9 points now, guys. Like, it was crazy, but it was the correct move because how the hammer worked was you could retain it, and if you had a lead, you were disincentivized to throw the hammer and make more variance and higher scoring points. So when a team had the hammer and they got out to a lead, there'd be no hammer throws. And now each team gets 3 hammer throws that you have to use, and that's a way better rule. So I love that they they are trying to make it the best product possible.
How long did the inaugural season go for?
It started in like late January, I think. Every team played 6 matches.
So it was a 2-month endeavor.
Yeah, it was fun. And yeah, we have Ryder Cup this fall. Oof. I bet
We'll be there. Volunteering for
volunteering
for the low pay of negative $500 a day.
One of these years I'm going to volunteer at a PJ event. I know some people who have. I want to be a starter. Stepping up at 8:15 tea time. Sahith Thigala.
You're
I'm
hired.
good at the names.
You're hired.
All right, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk Survivor. We'll talk Sweet 16. If you're listening to this not live and you think I just fucked up the last end of the draft, which I might have a little bit, let me know because it's only version 4. We have a few more of these.
What is the over/under on Andy's mock drafts? I'm going to set it at 8.5.
I've done more NHL mock drafts this year than NFL.
So your head's in a different place.
Michael Bisa, number 1 last week to the Flyers. Uh-oh. The Flyers got a new center. I'll do like 5 more, I think.
Okay. So that gets you the over. Barely.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed doing this one today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Once
overall,
you get more information, it becomes a little more of a, well, this makes sense rather than, I don't know, they need a lineman.